Okay, let's recite together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Homage to the sublime, the victorious, the totally self-enlightened one. Okay, so today I would like to start by answering a few questions that we have from last week. Is Edith there? Oh yeah, Edith is here. Okay. So last time Edith asked about the minimum number of Bhavanga Cittas. So I have asked my teacher again about this. And actually, the minimum number of Bhavanga Cittas between processes is very hard to say exactly how many or what is the minimum. Because remember that in a snap of a finger, billions of cittas arises and passes away. So we are talking about a huge amount, actually. So the Bhavangas in between the processes is not like 1 or 2 or 3 or 5. My teacher says that it may, depending on situation, let's say if we are very tired or if we are very sleepy, then there will be more Bhavanga Cittas in between 2 processes. And those numbers are maybe like millions or hundreds of millions, so not like 1 or 2. And so my teacher also, he mentioned that it is written in the scriptures that for the Buddha, there is much fewer Bhavanga arise in the mind of the Buddha, because the Buddha's mind is always sharp and he's always fast. And so less Bhavanga Cittas arise between processes in the mental stream of the Buddha. But for normal person, then it will be, there might be more. And also depending on situations, like if we are really tired or like the mind is really slow at that time, then more Bhavanga Cittas might arise. But we are talking about like a lot, not like 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 like that. Yeah. Okay, so that's one of the question from last week. And we also have some other questions. So we talked about whether a noble being can commit suicide or not last week. And so the answer is yes, but the intention is very different. So even in the Jataka Atthakatha, that's the commentary of the Jataka tales from the scriptures, and it also mentions that there are noble beings that can commit suicide, but the intention or the way they see it is very different from a non-enlightened being. They see these 5 khandhas, these 5 aggregates as something that is non-beneficial and that has fault with it. So with that kind of intention, the noble being might commit a suicide, but it's not like with anger, no? So for a normal non-enlightened being, then it is possible that most probably we commit suicide with dosa. And that is akusala, no? So for noble being, it is possible. I've also heard, not directly from my teacher, but I don't remember exactly where, but I have heard there are also noble beings that commit suicide to protect others. Like sometimes when they know that this person is going to harm an arahat, for example, then it is a very, very great offense for this person, no? And in order to protect that person from that very great akusala, then the arahat may commit a suicide, like so to prevent him from, let's say, killing him or doing something, no? So that's a different intention. Okay, so that's a noble being can commit suicide, but with a different intention than other non-enlightened being. Now, also, I have confirmed with my teacher, and this is very interesting because he says that killing oneself is actually not panatipata. So I'll say it again. Killing oneself is not considered as breaking the first precept of panatipata, no, like undertake the precepts of not harming or not killing living beings, no. Although oneself is also a living being, but in the sub-commentary of the Vinaya, the Sarata Tika, it is said there is parapana, is another being. So to commit a killing, that it must be another being, like not oneself. So my teacher said that killing oneself is not considered as panatipata. So in this case, since it is not breaking, not even breaking the precepts, so even for monks, that is not an offense, obviously. So therefore, last time we were saying that whether it is worse for a monk to commit suicide than a lay person. So in this case, I don't think so, because if it is not even breaking the 5 precepts, no. But of course, if the person killed himself with dosa, then it is obviously akusala, and there will be akusala karma planted, and akusala result will arise. Okay, so until here, there was another question. Until here, okay? Yes?
Now, I'm a little curious, like so what is it then? Isn't it, so suicide, so it's not panatipata, so which is it now?
And if the person killed oneself with dosa, then it is an akusala, unwholesome deed. But it is not breaking the precept of panatipata, but it's just dosa with generating a lot of dosa mula citta, and so those karma will also give unwholesome result, no, because dosa is unwholesome mind, but it is not considered as panatipata.
Yeah, good to know. It's very surprising. Thank you.
It is surprising. Yep. So apparently it is said that another being. So therefore, okay. So there was also another question from Amar about the pettas, whether they are only spontaneously born. And so I asked my teacher, so he said that there is a kind of petta, well, because there are many kinds of pettas, there are different, like animals, there are many different kinds of animals, right? So pettas also have different kinds of pettas. And there is one kind of petta that is constantly suffering from burning. It's like they are always hot and being burned. And those kind of petta, they are spontaneously born. Otherwise, all other kinds of pettas can be born in the 4 ways. So womb born also possible, spontaneously born possible, moisture born also possible, and also egg born also possible. That's what my teacher explained.
Okay, yeah. In regards, I do have another question. How about other realm, like the Devas and the Brahmans, are they womb born? No, right?
There are some devas that are spontaneously born, and there are womb-born devas as well.
No, in the Brahma realm,
Brahma, no.
No, right? Brahma is all spontaneous, right?
Yes, Brahma spontaneously born only. But for devas, that it is possible womb-born or spontaneously born also.
Okay. Do you know which one is womb-born? There are 6 of them, right?
Womb-born devas are usually those that are earth-bounded devas that are closer to us, like in the lower realms. Chatumaharajika, I think so. Yes, I will check again, but I think so. It's the earth-bounded devas.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
But not all of them. Some of them. Depends on their karma also. Yeah. All right. So with this, we have finished the questions from last week. And today we are going to continue with some revision. A few weeks ago, we have finished the revision of all the cittas of the Kamavachara realm, the sense realm, the cittas with the characteristic of the sensual plane. And today we are going to continue with the Rupavachara, Arupavachara, and Lokutara as well. So just a quick revision of those cittas. to remember what are they and some other information as well. Okay, so now with the Rupavachara Cittas, I think you might remember this just to refresh our memory. Those are Cittas with the characteristics of the fine material plane, and Rupa means matter, material, matter, and Avachara means moving in or frequenting or plane. No? So those are the Cittas that arise mostly in the Rupavachara realms, or but not necessarily only there, because in the Kamavachara plane also, in the sense sphere or sense realm or sense plane also, when a person meditates and attains jhana, these Cittas can also arise in the human world also. No, so not necessarily, but most of the time it arises in the fine material plane. So therefore, sometimes it's called Cittas with the characteristics of the fine material plane. And in the Rupavachara Cittas, we have, it is divided into 3 groups. That we have the Kusala Cittas, we have Vipaka Citta, and we also have Kriya Cittas, right? So the wholesome Cittas itself are those that are like our actions, and it happens only in the Jhavana moment, no? Remember last week we talked about function. So those that are active, so all these Rupavachara Kusala Cittas are those Cittas that arise when we attain jhana actually. And then we have Vipaka, the resultant of these jhana Cittas, and also Kriya Cittas, those are when the arhats, fully enlightened being, meditates and attain jhana, yeah? Okay. So quickly, let's see. Those Kusala Cittas are actually jhana Cittas, Cittas that arise in deep meditative states. And what kind of meditation? So it only arises through samatha meditation, right? So the tranquility and one-pointedness meditation. And the objects of these Cittas, the object of meditation, right, for Rupavachara Cittas can be of many different kinds. So in the 9th chapter of the Abhidhamma Sangaha and in the Visuddhimagga also, it is very detailedly explained about all kinds of different objects that can be used as a meditative object to attain Rupavachara jhanas. No, for example, Anapana, the breathe in and breathe out, and then there can be metta, and then the kasinas, the earth deeds, or the color, light, and space, and all this can be objects of meditation for samatha meditation, no, for Rupavachara jhanas. And Rupavachara Kusala Citta, as well as the Arupavachara Kusala Cittas, both of them are actually attained by samatha meditation. Yeah, but the objects that they take will be different. And later we will talk about that again. So with samatha meditation, one can attain jhana. And jhana is of 2 kinds, Rupavachara and Arupavachara jhanas. No, now this jhana, this word is usually translated as meditative absorption, but actually the word jhana, what does it mean? So jhana is derived from the Pali root j, meaning to contemplate and to burn up. So let's see what does it contemplate and what does it burn up, right? So it contemplates on what? On its meditative object with a high level of concentration, and it burns up the 5 hindrances for spiritual development. And what are the 5 hindrances? The 5 hindrances are, first one, sense desire, kama chanda, and then we have vyavada, ill will, then we have sloth and topa, tinamida, and then we have restlessness and remorse, udacha and kukucha, and we have doubt as well, vichikicha, right? So these 5 are called spiritual hindrances for spiritual development. It's this because when this 5 is present, the mind cannot be concentrated. Now, when there are sense desire, when there is ill will, or when the mind is sleepy, or we are having restlessness or remorse or doubt, then obviously the mind is not calm, right? So when it is not calm, then it is not possible to attain concentration. So to attain jhana, these 5 hindrances needs to be suppressed temporarily, no? Okay, so therefore this word jhana, actually, it has this meaning of contemplating with a high level of concentration on its meditation object, as well as burning up the 5 hindrances, the nivarana, yeah? Okay, so that's what jhana means. Okay, now, so that's about the jhana kusala cittas. And when there is the kusala citta, then they will also give result, because wholesome karma is being planted, so resultant will arise. And so this kind of resultant cittas, we have already seen last week from the function, it can perform the function of rebirth consciousness in the Rupavachara realm, yeah, as well as the Bhavanga citta that arise there, and the Chuti citta, the death consciousness that arise there also, right? Okay, then we have the Rupavachara Kriya Cittas, which are the 5 material functional cittas. And the jhanas are divided into, the Rupavachara jhanas are divided into 5 types of different jhanas, yeah? First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Now, what are the differences? Let's see. The 5 types of Rupavachara Kusala Citta, they are actually differentiated according to their accompanying jhana factors. So for the first jhana, there will be 5 jhana factors. So vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, and ekagata. So initial application, sustained application, joy or pleasurable interest, happiness, and one-pointedness. So these are the 5 jhana factors that accompany the first Rupavachara citta. Now, the second jhana, when a person attained the first jhana already, then he or she continues to practice, and systematically he or she gets more and more concentrated onto the meditative object, and then he finds that vitaka is not necessary anymore, because vitaka is still the meditator, he feels that it's still very close to sense desire, to the 5 hindrances, is still very close to that. So then he purposefully dropped vitaka. And when he successfully do that, and the mind become very composed, then the second jhana citta arises in him. Then with the second jhana citta, it is only accompanied with these 4 jhana factors, which are vichara, piti, sukha, and ekagata, and that's the second jhana. And again, the person practiced more and more, and then the vichara is also being eliminated in the third jhana citta. And in the fourth jhana citta, now only sukha and ekagata is left among the jhana factors. Yeah. So remember, now we're only talking about the jhana factors, not all cetasikas. Yeah. So remember, the universals and all those must always be there still. Yeah. We're only talking about jhana factors. So later we will also talk about their associating cetasikas. So in the table we will see exactly what cetasikas accompanies this kind of cittas. Okay, then the person continues to practice, and when he attains the fifth Rupavachara jhana, then the mental feeling here becomes upekkha instead of somanassa. Yeah. Oh, sorry, instead of sukha. Yes. So upekkha and ekagata will be the only 2 mental, jhana factors that accompanies the Rupavachara cittas. Okay, so that's how we differentiate the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth jhana kusala cittas. Yeah. Okay, so since for the Rupavachara cittas, the wholesome cittas and the vipaka cittas and the kriya cittas, they are all identical actually. So if there are 5 jhana kusala cittas, there will also be the 5 jhana vipaka cittas as well. And for the kriya cittas, it's basically the same, but they are not neither karma nor the result of karma, because a fully enlightened being, they do not plant seeds anymore. So when they do practice meditation and this kind of jhana citta arise in them, it arises as a kriya citta. So that's how we have the 15 kind of Rupavachara cittas. Okay, so that's the revision of the 15 types of Cittas with the characteristic of the fine material plane. Now let's look at the associated Cetasikas. Okay, let's look at this table. Now for the first jhana, we see universal 7 definitely must be there. Then Vitaka, Vichara also there. Then these occasionals, we still have the determination, adhimokkha, effort surely is necessary. Joy is also there, piti, right? Piti is also there. Then chanda, which also must be. We must want to meditate in order to be able to meditate, no? So all this is present. And of course, agusala will not be there. Then universal, wholesome, the beautiful 19 Cetasikas will also be there because it is also kusala citta, no? The meditative mind is also a kusala mind, yeah? So 19 of them will also be present. And the abstinence here, they are not present because during meditation, the person is not trying to not kill or not have right speech and so on. No? So there, he is staying there meditating. So there is no occasion for him to commit any agusala at that moment, right? So therefore, abstinences is not necessary and it will not arise here. Now, how about the illimitables or the limitless? Do you remember which two are they?
Karuna and mudita.
Right, karuna and mudita. Okay, so let's see. So it is here it says it is possible. So let's take a look at the next table here. So in this table, we see the 40 meditation subject at a glance. So we see you find this table in the Abhidhamata Sangaha, the comprehensive menu of the Abhidhamma. So you see that we have kasina object, then the asubha objects, then the recollection, etc. And in the next page, we see the 4 apamania here, the 4 illimitables. Now you see loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, mudita, and upekkha. So these 3 can reach to 1st to 4th jhana. So that means with this meditation object, then one can attain highest until the 4th jhana, right? If we meditate on compassion or mudita. Yeah, okay. So equanimity is only the 5th jhana, because the other 1st to 4th jhana associate with piti and sukha, remember? So equanimity is only for the 5th jhana, but these 2 limitables or limitless, they can be object of 1st to 4th jhana. So therefore, when we come back to this graph, then we see that illimitables here from the 1st to the 4th jhana, it is possible, not necessary, but possible. Possible in terms of when the meditator take compassion or mudita as its meditation object and it practice that way, then it will arise. But let's say the person, he is practicing anapana, breathe in and breathe out, and he attains jhana, then obviously this mudita and karuna will not arise because it has nothing to do with its object, no? Okay, now wisdom will always be there. When there is jhana, then there must also be wisdom. So these are the Cetasikas that associate with the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th jhana. So if we see in the second one, then the initial thought, vitaka, being dropped, so no more. Then the 3rd jhana, vitaka vichara, also dropped, so no more. And then for the 4th jhana, piti is also dropped, right? So not here anymore. Otherwise, the other ones are the same. And for the 5th jhana, no piti and also not possible for the illimitables also, as we see, because only upekkha. It can only, the 2 mudita and karuna can only attained until the 4th jhana. So therefore, 5th jhana, for 5th jhana, it will not arise. Okay, is that clear?
What does your color means here? You have different color here. For wisdom, you have a dark green. So what do you mean by that?
Actually, this graphic is made by Venerable Aganyani, and then the colors are not specified in the graphic, so I'm not sure. I think she only used to differentiate the different groups, like these are the universal ones, and these are the occasional ones with the same color, and these are universal ones, and then these ones are occasional. But anyway, wisdom must be here. Yeah.
So this wisdom is not a vipassana wisdom, right? This is
No, this is not vipassana wisdom.
yeah.
Yeah, this is other kind of wisdom. That this is the wisdom to understand that. I think this one is to understand that when you do good result will happen. So because when you practice jhana, then you understand that with jhana chitta you attain, there will be good result coming from this jhana. So that kind of understanding, that kind of wisdom is associated, but not vipassana wisdom here. Okay, so if it's okay, then we will go on to arupavachara cittas. Okay, everyone? Yeah, okay. So this is basically simple because it is very similar. Just here, we have to remember that for arupavachara cittas, since jhana is always step by step. So first, one attain the first rupavachara citta, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, then the fifth, and then after that, then one attain the arupavachara cittas. So for the arupavachara cittas, since it is even higher than the fifth rupavachara jhana cittas, then it will only associate with the two jhana factors that are the same as the fifth jhana, right? So upekkha and ekagata. Here only upekkha, neutral, mental neutral feeling, and well, not only just mental neutral feeling, because it is actually the chatasika of tatramajatata, no, actually very well developed, no, but also it is associated with neutral feeling, right? Okay, so there will be neutral mental feeling or equanimity and one-pointedness as well. Now, the difference here, we have 4 kinds of rupavachara citta, first, second, third, and fourth. Now, the difference are actually the objects itself. Now, for the kusala cittas, arupavachara kusala citta, the first citta is actually called by the name of its object. So it takes infinite space as its object. So it's called akasanincha yatana. That's the first arupavachara citta. So infinite space here. Now the second one, well, infinite space actually, if you remember when we were talking about this, the how to practice the jhana before, then imagine, let's take a kasina disc, then the disc becomes smoother and smoother, and then it becomes like a mirror-like, and then this object is, then we don't need the physical object anymore. The object is already in the mind, and when we close our eyes, then we can see the object there, yeah? So that object, then the meditator then extend that object into an infinite space. So that's a concept object, and that's the object taken by the first arupavachara citta. So akasa nanjayatana. Then for the second arupavachara kusala citta, it is actually called vinyanancha yatana. So the object here is actually the citta that takes the infinite space as object. So the meditator take this citta as its object this time. So here it is actually not a concept, because citta is an ultimate reality, no? So it takes this citta that takes the infinite space as object, as its object. So the first arupavachara citta, that it's called infinite vijnana here, is being taken as the object of the second arupavachara citta. Okay, then for the third arupavachara citta, yes, Claudia.
So the citta take the citta as an object.
Yes.
So have the power of reflect itself.
Yes.
Or to look after. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And next week, I think we are going to talk about objects, aramana. So remember, all kinds of cittas, when they arise, it must always take an object, yeah? Because citta itself is the awareness of an object, right? The pure awareness of an object. So it must always have an object for it to be aware of. So next week, we are going to talk about all kinds of different objects. So what kind of objects can be taken by what kind of cittas? So this is coming next week. Okay, so by the time you will see,
Sorry, quick question. Like the person that is meditating, like it does something consciously, or is something that happen itself by itself?
he does something consciously because he is practicing, so he must put effort to consciously practice that way. Yeah, Claudia?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so next week we are going to talk about objects. Then we will know that cittas can take what as object. It can take citta itself as object, like here. It can take cettasikas as object. It can take rupa as object. It can take different kinds of things as object. So next week it will become even more clear. Okay, so let's go back to the arupa vachara cittas. Now here we see the third one is called the akincha nyatana citta. That is the third arupavachara cittas. That's the non-existence of the first vijnana. Now this time it becomes a concept again. So the meditator, he takes the non-existence. So this citta, he takes, let's say, the non-existent of that citta. So he left that citta alone. So he takes the citta is not there anymore. So he takes the non-existent of that citta as its object. So this here is a concept object. Yeah. Oh, so that's the third object. The object of the third arupavachara citta. Then to attain the highest arupavachara citta, the object being taken is actually the third arupavachara citta itself. So that means now this time it takes the citta that takes the non-existence of the first vijnana as its object. So it takes this citta as its object. And it is called neva sanya na sanyayatana. So that means neither perception nor non-perception. Why is it called like that? Because the mind is so subtle here that this perception, this sanya, actually is actually like a representative of all other cettasikas. No, so it's not only meaning sanya, but the other cettasikas as well. And with this meditative mind, it is so subtle and so concentrated that the cettasikas they are kind of like so fine that you can say it's not here, but it is here. It's like we use the example of a water bottle. Remember, now teacher says that if you take a water bottle with just we just finished drinking water from that water bottle, and if we say, is there water anymore, then we may say that no, there is no more water to drink, right? So there's no water. But at the same time, then we cannot say that it is exactly really no water, because there are some like tiny moisture or drops inside still. Yeah, so it is neither with nor without in this case. So in this case, for this citta as well, it is so fine that is called neither perception nor non-perception. So that's the 4 arupavachara cittas. Yeah. Okay, so in this case, for the differences between rupavachara citta and arupavachara citta, we have to know that for rupavachara cittas, the differences between the different jhanas are the jhana factors. So first, second, third, fourth, and fifth jhana, they may take different objects, 40 types of meditative object they can take, but the difference is the accompanied jhana factors. But for arupavachara cittas, they only always associate with 2 jhana factors, and what is different is their object. So the infinite space, the citta that take the infinite space, the non-existence of that citta, and the citta that that third jhana citta, no, actually. So the neva sanya na sanya citta takes the third jhana citta as its object. So objects are different here. Okay, so let's take a look at the associated cettasikas with the rupavachara cittas. Yes, Claudia.
When somebody practice samatha meditation, and they choose the object based on some meaning or not? For instance, when you're born, you have like, you know, like if we talk in like if you study astrology, you know that in your body maybe there is more fire or water instead of air or earth. So this one is related with this one, with the object that you will choose or not?
Usually, in the Buddha's teaching, it is not mentioned like the astrology, like what you said, but it does mention some kind of actually the Buddha himself didn't say so, but ancient teachers, they said that there are different temperaments of people. So there are people that has more lobha, let's say, or there are people that has more dosa, let's say. So for different temperaments, then it is recommended that different kinds of meditation might be suitable for that person. But this is not a requisite. So it's not like you must practice this because you are this type or that type. No. So you can practice all 40 kinds of meditation object. One can choose and see what is more suitable, and we can try and see what is easier and what comes more natural for ourselves, no? But one of them, the anapana, breathing in, breathe in, and breathe out, is said to be suitable for all person also. So if you see the meditation, the object table here you can see also. Okay, I'm coming back here. You can also see that there is a temperament here, yeah? So if you look at this table, you can also see like earth, kasina, water, fire, and air. It's suitable for all kinds of temperaments. So for everyone is suitable. But this is only a general, like a suggestion. No? So not necessarily we must follow it, but it is like suggestions from teachers. So let's say these colors are the ones that are good for people that have more dosa, let's say. Maybe because they are calming, or I don't know. Yeah, then for the fullness, for the asubha, like the contemplation on the non-beautiful aspect of the body or of all this are suitable for people who have more lobha. So it is said like that. So if you want to know about the temperaments or what kind of meditation object is suitable, then you can refer to this table also.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, now let's go to the associating mental factors, cetasikas, for the arupavachara cittas. So if you see here, for all the arupavachara cittas, so including all the kusala ones and also the vipaka, resultant, and the functional, because they are all identical, yeah, in this case. So their associated cetasikas are also the same. And if you see that here, universal is there, surely, then because it associates only with 2 jhana factors, so basically it's the same as the 5th jhana, right? So vitaka, vichara are not there, piti also not there, abstinence, of course, then mudita and karuna also not possible for arupavachara because it's not its object, yeah? So it will not arise also. So basically same as the 5th jhana. Okay, until here, everyone clear? Yeah? Okay. All right. In this case, let's continue a little bit more. So now we have finished the revision with the arupavachara cittas. So we have 4 kinds of arupavachara cittas, which it's vipaka citta, the resultant consciousness are also identical. And for the kriya cittas, when a totally enlightened being meditates and attain jhanas, arupavachara jhanas, and then that will be the this kind of arupavachara kriya cittas will arise. Now, for the vipaka cittas that we have seen, those we have seen the function last week, right? So these vipaka cittas, rupavachara or arupavachara vipaka cittas, are those that gives rebirth where? In the rupavachara realm and in the arupavachara realm, no? Depending on the different jhana that the person attained. Later, in later chapters, when we talk about the different beings or different planes, then we will also talk about this a little bit more, what kind of jhana leads to exactly which realm. Yeah. Okay. So these ones are the resulting consciousness that will give rebirth in the Rupavachara and Arupavachara realm, as well as the Bhavanga Chitta that will arise in the Brahma being, no? In the beings that are in the Rupavachara and Arupavachara realm, as well as the Chuti Chitta. So when they passed away, also this Vipaka Chitta will arise in them. But still, although they are very fine and very highly developed chittas, it is still in samsara, yeah? So because there will still be an end to that lifetime, and even after being a Brahma, then one can still depend on the karma, then he can also be reborn again as a deva, as a human being, and even later on, even in the lower planes as well. So it is not free from samsara yet. Okay, so now we're going to the revision of the last type of chittas, which are the Lokuttara chittas. Those are the chittas that will lead us out from samsara. Yeah. Okay, so those are the chittas that takes nibbana as object. So after these very fine jhana chittas, but these jhana chittas are still in the samsara, now we're going to look at the potential of the mind, actually. What kind of chitta, the highest chittas that can lead us out of samsara. That's called the Lokuttara chitta, supra-mundane chittas. Now, loku means the world, or the five aggregates, and uttara means transcending, or that which is beyond. So lokuttara actually means the transcending of the world of the five aggregates. And now what is the five aggregates? Remember, the five aggregates are actually the same as just nama and rupa. Let's take a look at this graphic. Now we have vijnana kanda, the five aggregates, five khandas. Vijnana kanda, aggregate of consciousness. Vedana kanda, aggregate of mental feeling. Sanya kanda, aggregate of perception. Sankhara kanda, the aggregate of mental formation. And rupa kanda, aggregate of metta. No? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are called the five aggregates. But actually, what are the five aggregates? So sometimes the Buddha, he explained in many different ways, depending on the listener, on the audience. Yeah, sometimes the audience will understand if he just mentioned nama and rupa, then the person already get what he wants to explain. Then the Buddha mentioned only mind and metta. But for some other person, he might need a little bit more information. So in that case, the Buddha explained chitta, cetasika, and rupa. So 3 things here. So he divided a little bit further. Then there are some other people that need even a little bit more information, more details. So the Buddha explained the 5 aggregates, but actually vijnana is actually just chitta, same, and chittasikas are further divided into 3 groups. So vedana is 1 cittasika, sanya is 1 cittasika, and the sankhara actually refers to the remaining 50 cittasikas. So when you see the word sankhara kanda, then we need to understand that it means the 50 cetasikas here. So these 4 nama kandas, the mind aggregates, are actually just chitta and cetasikas. Then rupa is rupa. So the vijnana kanda means the 89 or 121 types of chittas, vedana 1, sanya 1, sankhara 50. So altogether 52 cetasikas, and rupa 28 types of material properties, no types of matters. So for those who need further detailed description, then the Buddha explained in this way in all the details, like in the Abhidhamma as well. But in the end, we can understand that we are only talking about mind and metta with different names. Okay, so that's the 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates, meaning mind and metta. Now, coming back to the Lokuttara chittas, that means chittas that transcends the 5 aggregates, meaning, in other words, that transcends mind and metta. So these types of cittas are actually enlightenment cittas. Now, when a person attained enlightenment, then this type of cittas arise. Now, we all have heard about the Noble Eightfold Path, right? So we have right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So these are the 8 factors. It's also called path factors. These 8 factors are important for enlightenment, right? So they are further divided into 3 groups, actually, which is Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So these 3, right speech, right action, and right livelihood, are Sila, and the other 3, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, is the Samadhi part. And then we have right view and right thought belonging to the Panya part. So fulfilling the Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, fulfilling the Noble Eightfold Path, the 8 factors, then a person attained path consciousness. So Magga Citta will arise in the person when the Noble Eightfold Path is being fulfilled. So meaning getting enlightened. So Nibbana is the object being taken by this kind of cittas. And we all know that there are 4 stages of enlightenment, right? So we have first stage of enlightenment, Sotapaddi Magga, and then we have Sakadagami, so stream enterer, once returner, non-returner, anagami, and arahata, right? The fully enlightened being. So 4 stages of enlightenment. Therefore, we have 4 kinds of path consciousness accordingly. So first stage, second, third, and fourth stage. And since this is the cause, there must be a result also. So we also have the resultant cittas, which are the phala cittas here. So identical, first, second, third, and fourth stage. So their names are called according to the stage of enlightenment. So Sotapaddi Magga, Sakadagami Magga, Anagami Magga, Arahata Magga, and Sotapaddi Phala, Sakadagami Phala, Anagami Phala, and Arahata Phala. So altogether, we have 8 kinds of Lokuttara cittas here. Okay, so until here, we've finished with the revision of the cittas. With all kinds of cittas already. So just as a little mind refresher, and I would also like to remind everyone and myself of what defilements are being eliminated in the different stage of enlightenment. Okay, so for Sotapaddi Magga, for stream entry path citta, it has the power to eliminate, well, to weaken a lot of sense desire and ill will, although it is not fully eradicated, but a lot of it is greatly reduced. But what is totally eradicated in this stage is wrong view and doubt. So a person who attained the Sotapaddi Magga, first stage of enlightenment, will have no more wrong view and no more doubt concerning the truth, concerning the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Okay, and it is said that a person who attained the first stage of enlightenment will always keep the 5 precepts. He is not able to break the 5 precepts anymore. So he will always abstain from taking life, then he will always be generous, and he will not take anything that is not being given. And then a Sotapanna is still possible to get married. So because sense desire is still not totally eradicated, but he will never commit any sexual misconduct and so on. Yeah, so he will always keep the 5 precepts. Now, for the second Magga, the Sakadagami Magga, actually here, no new defilements are being totally eradicated, but sense desire and ill will is further weakened to a very, very less amount. So only very, very slight sense desire and ill will is left in Sakadagami person. Now, when a person attains Anagami Magga, the third stage of enlightenment, in this case, sense desire and ill will are totally eradicated in this case. So no more sense desire and no more ill will. So therefore, for a person who have attained the third stage of enlightenment, if he or she does not attain arahantship in that very life, then he or she will be reborn most of the time in the Sudawasa, into the Brahma world, because they will not be reborn into the sense sphere anymore, because sense desire is totally eradicated. So they will not come back to the sense realm anymore. And it is said that an anagami person will always keep the 8 precepts. They don't necessarily have to take the precepts, but it's just naturally they will always keep the 8 precepts. Now, for an arahat, that's the 4th stage of enlightenment, all the remaining defilements, which are attachment to the rupa vachara and the arupa vachara, fine material realm or the non-material realm, then mana, conceit, restlessness, which are associated with all kinds of akusala, as well as moha, ignorance, all of these remaining defilements will all be eradicated. And that's when a person attains total enlightenment, arahantship. Yeah. Okay. So with this, then we have really finished the revision of the all kinds of cittas. Now let's take a look at the associated cetasikas. Okay, now this is a detailed table, so it is referring to those persons that attained magga together with jhana. Okay, so if a person attained the first stage of enlightenment with the first jhana, then the mind quality will be the same. The cetasikas that associate together with this citta, with this magga citta, will be similar to that of the first jhana, right? So vitaka, vichara will be there. Piti also will be there. But let's look at here. Abstinences, the 3 of them is also here. Remember, these 3, the right speech, right action, and right livelihood, these 3 is part of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right? So it is only in the magga and phala cittas that these 3 arise at the same time together. Because it is part of the Noble Eightfold Path, so it must be associated with the magga citta as well. And of course, wisdom. So for the other ones, same way, according to the jhana. So vitaka, vichara, or piti might not be associated. And the others are also the same way. Okay. So until here,
how come
yes,
Appamanya is missing?
Appamanya will not be there because
the Sakaruna and the mudita, right? That will be
that will not be there because the person, when he attains magga and phala, the object is what?
Object is nibbana.
Nibbana, right? Yeah, object is nibbana. So although even he might have jhana with, let's say, first jhana, practicing compassion or practicing mudita, but at that moment, he is not practicing jhana, right? He only have the jhana quality together with his magga citta, but at that moment, he's not practicing. So therefore, it will not arise there.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. All right, so until here, that's all for the all kinds of 89 and 121 cittas. We have done revision of everything, and we have also see the associated mental factors of all of them. So here, officially, we have finished the revision. And so let's take a break now, 5 minutes, and then coming back, we are going to look at the doors. That's information from chapter 3. So we're going to analyze the cittas in terms of doors, dwara.